Hey guys, how's it going? Figured I'd make a little bit of video here. I don't know what it is, but it always seems like there's something controversial in the chainsaw world. It's unbelievable. I'm the type, I don't really care how you want to set your squish, how you want to cut your base, as long as you get do an accurate enough job, at least to factory specs. Um, it's good for me, but if you're using a lathe, probably I'd say it's a safe assumption. When you cut your mandrel and you don't take it out after doing your cut and your face here and there, that is probably the accuratest that mandrel is ever going to be in that lathe. And then you build your saw, you take it out to build the next one or whatever. So when I build a mandrel, after I'm done cutting it and doing the machine work, I mark the chuck in the mandrel. So when I put that in and out, I have the best chance of lining everything back up and getting it in it as accurate as I can. And then things change. Like you could have been doing something else on some other job and maybe spun a project in the chuck or something, and you've changed your chuck a little bit somehow or whatever, but you chuck your mandrel back up, you snug these, you don't grill them down, and then I use this one right here. This thing is super sensitive. I mean, I'm just barely touching it, and I can put it on here, and I can put it at different points in the piece. Typically, I'll start all the way out here because this is the longest point. So if it's off, you're going to have the most movement there. And if I get that thing where it's only bouncing a half a line, in between numbers, that's good enough for me. I mean, ideally, shooting perfect is the best, but typically you won't. It'll bounce that half a line to a line just from the roughness of this. I'm not gonna slap a mere polish on my mandrel. And then same thing, the roughness that's on this. This thing, the line is just jittering, just a little bit. See if I can zoomy you guys in here. We'll go up like this. We'll chip you in. I don't know if you can see that or not. I am touching. I know there's some people that put videos of smoke and mirrors where their stuff's not touching, but all I did was use this and tap it around, got it where I want it, locked it down, double checked this and this. That's good enough for me. And when I put this on there, I will also use that one I just showed you right there on the face of that, and if I get it where it's bouncing one line, that is good enough for me. If you got one that's putting up a super duper fight, just make sure you pitch it to where the high and low is with the intake and exhaust, because you could, if you had enough material, you could cut your cylinder on a slant like that and put it in there, and the saw would still run, because your piston. Let's go over here. Got you all messed up here. Still not used to this tripod. Your piston, has all the movement in the world that you want this way. I mean, look at a 550. Its cylinders laid back like that. Look at the angle that this is on in here. This spins in a circle. This crank does not care any point all in a 360-degree circle where that cylinder is bolted on, as long as you're this way. Now, if you try to tilt your bore this way or that way, you're going to run into problems. I've actually encountered 365 clones that were actually tilted, and it was putting major side load on all the components in here, and it actually wore weird and ate right into the side of the piston from it not being set up right. I know people that set their base with these things. This is a model, whatever, right there. I personally wouldn't do it on that. I don't feel that's an accurate enough machine. I use this thing for other things. I feel where I've made you guys videos of hand sanding a cylinder with this machined plate is probably accurate in what I could get this one. I know my one buddy, he's got a big machine, and that thing's really accurate, but I don't have machine grade 2x4s and stuff and a big enough vise to even want to. I've got that vise, and I've got the little tiny grizzly vise that came with. That's actually a pretty precision vise. I'm actually very happy with that vise. It's just a little on the small side. I bought a turntable for this thing and got screwed on it. Never did get all my parts to it. That's actually I don't know. I took the chuck off it, and that's right there. That's my chuck that I chuck up. This is my carburetor working chuck. I'll chuck that chuck up in this chuck and do it that way. But I don't care how you guys want to do it. If you want to lay a big piece of glass down and slap a sticky sandpaper to it, I don't care, as long as you get good results. I'm not gonna be that picky, but I just know when I'm using this 83. I like this lathe better than this one. This is a Grip 1236E 2004 model. If I gotta get rough and tough, the transmission drive in this thing, if you got wound up in it, it would be a really, really bad day. It would probably rip body parts off you. This one would probably break body parts. It might rip a finger or something off, but I don't think it'd rip your arm off. It'd probably hurt you pretty severely though. But I run my belt fairly loose. My belt's just it's behind here. And this one's probably kind of dangerous. Every single safety feature on this thing has been bypassed, and it's just got an on and an off for forward and reverse here. So yeah, but this has been one of my best buys. I don't know what it is about this lathe, but I've had quite a few lathes over the years, and I think this one's just about perfect for doing saw stuff and a lot of other stuff. I have a forge out set up on that one, so if I'm cutting chambers, that's the one I do if I'm using a lathe to cut chambers. But I like Dino Joe's cutter. I've gotten good results, good power. That's the other thing too. Some people say you're not building a saw if you cut a chamber. I have built many saws where I've just put a piston, cut a pop-up, and then dropped the cylinder into the pop-up and had good results too. There's many ways to skin a cat, but I guess you call it trammin'. I am not a machinist. I am the farthest thing from a machinist. I just try to do the best work that I can do with my capabilities that I do. So if you do have a lathe These dial indicators are an absolute must. I do not use any of these gauges. I will. This is the one I actually set up here on the rail, and then there's a spot that's actually getting tangled up. Actually, a spot that's worn right here that I've cut so much stuff with that that's where my push thing is, and that way I know I'm keeping track of the carriage with a much more accurate dial, because I don't think these things are accurate. I mean, it moves that much before anything moves. How can you know? I will use that if I'm drilling into something, just to get an idea how deep I'm drilling into something. But yeah, when I'm cutting taper tops, I get people, there's lines here and there's a line here, but I will move this thing in and I will flip it, and then I go off the other side of this part right here, and I've got two lines scribed right here, because this will be this way, and then I can use this to feed in and out to cut my taper. But these are the two tapers that I go with. I'd have to lay my protractor thing on here and look at it and see what them actual tapers are. That's why I don't tell you guys what the taper is, because I just go by. Sometimes I'll split the difference and go in the middle too. Sometimes I'll cut. Speaking of that, on the Dyno Joe cutter, you can I get asked all the time, can you cut a taper on this? Absolutely, absolutely, you can cut a taper on this thing. You can loosen this and shim this, which tips your tooling. There's, this is tapered. If not, you scoot this down a little bit, but you can tip this and get a taper. And I don't know if he wants to be named or not, but he did a mod to his Dyno Joe thing, and he drilled down in through there and put a adjustable set screw underneath it, where he can reach in there with an Allen and actually raise up a stop to put this down in there, so you don't have to worry about your shim slipping. Genius idea. I don't know. He can chime in on the comment sections if he wants to take credit for it or not. I don't think he wants to be named, but if I had, if I was to redesign this, anything at all, it would be adding that set screw and milling in here and having two side set screws just to put a little extra tension on it. And then I would want this piece 3/4 of an inch thick, because it would help square up, line it up when you tighten it down. And I'm gonna have to chuck this thing up in a, well, actually probably what I'm gonna do is take it off and flip it over and use it until I can't use it no more. I've used this thing so much, I'm actually getting some pretty deep grooves in it for the cylinders that have the sleeve that stick out the bottom. And I turned this bolt down because this bolt stuck up past the table here. So that's about the only thing I would change. I'd add two more set screws and a little thicker, even a 1-inch. I get why he did this. Material's expensive. He probably used the bare minimum thickness so he could cut down on production cost. The amount of machine work that he put into this thing to make them, I think it was definitely a worthwhile investment. Probably, one solid sleeve would have done good too, but if you make them individually, then you can get, you could do 2 or 3 more, have enough materials to stretch them out. And if they don't fit tight and want to stay there, you just put a little bit of a piece of tape. But I have cut lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of chambers with this. If done right, and you take your time, you can get good results with this. So between this and that green lathe, I think I get good results. Do I get the best results? I don't know. That's not for me to say. I just try to get the best results that I can get. Same with porting. Am I the best porter out there? Absolutely not. I am probably mid-pack or below mid-pack. I do, anytime I grind on something, I try to do my absolute best on it that I'm physically able to do with the tooling that I have. And my tooling's constantly changing. I'm always trying different stuff, finding better stuff that works, and I just try to grow my hobby. I'm trying to get the best I can be at my hobby that I'm capable of being, if that makes any sense. Speaking of my hobby, I did, if you notice back here, this one's a little cleaner than the rest of them. This did fail on me. The brushes finally gave up. I used this where the foot pedal is down here. I used this one more than the other ones, and I'd wore another cable out. I've only got 2 more cables left, unless I count these 2 that I don't hardly use that much. But the brushes gave up the ghost, and I don't know. This is the one brush that was still somewhat trying to work, but I took this whole thing apart, cleaned the commutator on it, put 2 new brushes in it, and a new cable, and she sounds like a brand new machine. I greased the bearings while I was in it and all that happy stuff. So hopefully I can get another 2 or 3 years out of it. I wasn't too terribly worried if it completely crapped out and I couldn't use that no more. I got 2 other ones there, and then I have a Fordham one that's got forward and reverse over in the corner that I did some dealing on a while back to get, and I just haven't completely killed these ones yet. So it's like I'm getting good results. I'm going to stay with it until these are all cooked, and then there'll probably be a Fordham hanging up there. But yeah, I guess Harbor Freight don't sell them no more, but they look just like the Vevor one, so I wouldn't hesitate a bit about buying a Vevor one. I've had good luck with the Chicago ones, and this air compressor motor is a Vevor, and for the price, that motor's been holding up awesome. So yeah, I don't mind my little cob job there. I built that so I can adjust the belt easier. I should have 2 belts on there. I'm only running one, so I got to pull it a little bit tighter. But just like this Harbor Freight pump's been holding up great, because this was just an empty tank that I traded a pulling chainsaw for years and years and years ago, and I bought all the components. That line was a pain in the butt because this has got different fittings and stuff. This was the worst of the whole thing, was making that adapter right there to be able to plumb my line in. This is actually high pressure hydraulic line. I don't think that'll ever blow out. Probably won't ever break either. It's really, really thick. But I probably could have plumbed that in with copper too. But so yeah, the parts come in. I got the brand new cylinder sitting right there. This is all trammed in, so I got to cut the thing's sitting at like 65 squish, so I got to cut quite a bit off it. I've got the new piston already hung on the rod, and where is it? Let me show you the squish. Cycles have crazy squish. Here's the calipers. So at the tightest point, Let's say it's 65 at the tightest point. So we got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I gotta cut 45 off the base of this girl. I already pulled the limiters out. I got my tube cut for the muffler mod. So yeah, I'm gonna be puttering on this all day. But yeah, so that's how I set up a cylinder. I know I dropped a Dominator Saber video. That was just something I'd already recorded. I think there's one other oil video I'm going to drop that's set up that same way, and then from here on out, when you see this, we're going to be doing it until it squalls, and we're going to be changing the test up. But like I said, I've got a race coming up. I'm way behind. I'm actually going to try to get down to Ohio either this weekend or next weekend, and drop saws off down there, and see if I can do some practice and runs down there. I've been thinking, if I make it to tip up, I have never had the green saw at a race. It's got really old fuel in the tank, so I think I'm going to try my hand at racing that green saw. I think my buddy's going to borrow the purple saw because it's never been at a race. I might take the OG stickers. I haven't got around to make my spacers for the one that took first at Sawfest, so I'm not going to run that anymore because I don't want to blow it up until I get different spacers made for the piston. So I won't be running that one. And if I don't get to it by Sawfest or whatever, then it'll just sit there until next Sawfest. And then I think I'm going to run the 460 lawn and possibly my 400, I think. I don't know. It just depends. I just know, I think my wife, because that's on Valentine's Day, I think the wife's actually going to go with me. And we'll probably take the car, so, probably just take three to four saws tops, put some cardboard down on it, and set the saws on there. I'll take a gas can, small tool kit, and a couple extra chains or whatever. And yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to run the original OG stickers. Might just take it in case something happens and the saw won't start or something. At least that way I didn't go all the way down there for nothing. But I really want to get going on the 7310, so I'm going to call this a video. You guys take it easy and enjoy. At least I catch you guys some sort of content out. You guys have a good one.